let's talk about some of the reasons why you really don't think that your content is going to work. Because if you continue to think that your content is not going to work, then you're not going to create it because you're going to feel like it's a waste of time. You're going to feel like it's not going to be helpful and that you can just skip and avoid. But you're not getting the sales you want. You're not getting the attention you want. You're not getting the website traffic that you want. You're not getting the cart checkouts that you want. So there's obviously some room to improve with your marketing. And if you don't have a budget for advertisement, then content marketing is the way. You could do cold calling, you could go door knocking, you could ask for referrals, but it's a lot less effective than creating content that a vast number of people can see instead of trying to market one person at a time. So let's talk about how to get over this fear that is not going to work. And this comes down to evaluating your emotions. See, you have been looking externally at all the indicators that would let you know if your content is going to work. You are looking at your favorite creators. You are looking at your competitors that are in the same industry or market as you, and you're seeing what they're doing. You're seeing them gain followers. You're seeing them gain traction. You're seeing them get a lot of engagement. You're seeing people sign up for their freebies. Your competitors are like, comment this word and I'll send you the link. And you're seeing hundreds of comments of people opting in for them. And everything that you're looking at is external. So then when you start thinking about what you can do and you're trying to measure it up to others, you're starting to get discouraged. But it's not because you're just completely not confident. You have confidence. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in business in the first place. You believe you can sell your stuff. You believe you can sell your offer. You believe that if you have a product, people want it and want to buy it. You believe that if you offer a service, people need it and want to buy it. But you haven't looked inside. And I'm talking about like inside your heart, your mind, like really getting real and truthful with your feelings. Like, why do you feel like nobody would watch you? Why do you feel like no one would buy from you? Why do you feel like you'd end up with 0 views for the next 6 months if you dedicated that much time to testing out this marketing strategy? Why do you feel like people are going to comment badly about you? Like, you need to evaluate your emotions and why that is the self-talk in your head that's stopping you from taking action on something that will actually help you to improve your business and your sales and your lead generation and your conversions. So here's what you could do. You do a couple things. You can read or listen to a book. I have listened to a lot of books to just really look at the person that I am on the inside and start healing some of the traumas that I've been through of people telling me I had stupid ideas when I was in school or doing my very, very best, spending hours and hours on a project, then my group members telling the teacher that I did a bad job, even though we got an A on the paper and I wrote the paper. You know what I'm saying? So then in my head, I'm like, well, everything that I do is bad. Like, everybody's going to think that is bad because I do my best and it's still not good enough, right? When really it was some mean girl stuff going on. They took the good grade, but they wanted to hurt me, right? Because I was like on the outside. It's a whole thing. I've talked about it in another video I'll be sharing. But anyways, you can read a book. I like this one by Jamie Kern Lima. It's called Worthy: How to Believe You Are Enough and Transform Your Life. I have listened to The Mountain Is You. That's an amazing book, a very quick listen. You should listen to it. And essentially, it talks about you getting in your own way, you self-sabotaging yourself. And I've done it multiple times where I've literally been getting customer inquiries. Like, people want to buy from me. People ask for calls or they ask for more information and I just like freeze up. I stop. And then the opportunity disappears, or at least I feel like it. And then I'm too embarrassed to follow up and see if they're interested again. And because what am I going to say? Like, hey, sorry, I ghosted you after you told me you're potentially interested in giving me money to do something for you. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of things, you know. Am I worth them giving a shot? All of that stuff. You got to look into yourself to see like what really stops you. And so the second thing that you can do is you can journal. You can write out these feelings. You can address the scary monsters, the people that have made you feel less than, the times that you've gotten embarrassed. And it's just kind of like left internal scars, and they don't show up on the outside of you living your everyday life, but it shows up when you start to do something that might get you close to reliving or feeling that same type of feeling, that same type of embarrassment, that same type of judgment, that same type of rejection that you've experienced before. So you have to start with evaluating your emotions. And this point is the most underrated, under-talked about necessity that you have to address to start your content creation process. If I would have known to do this over 15 years ago, I'd have been in a completely different place in terms of my visibility, my business, and my growth on social media. We're going to put a pin in that because I got to go pick my kids up from their grandmother, my mom. 7 hours later. But seriously, after you evaluate your feelings, you journal, you read books, you listen to podcasts, you go to therapy, you do a combination of several of those. You're using any and all of these tools so you can understand why you have these emotions that you do and what triggers them, essentially the origin of where these emotions started. Like the first time you forgot all of the words in class and now you're afraid to talk on any stage or in front of any camera because you forgot all of your presentation words and now you're just like traumatized, right? You think people are gonna laugh and snicker at you because that's what they did in your class. You're gonna determine what the origin is. And then you're going to think about what your triggers are. What are the things in your business that you need to do as it pertains to marketing, which is communicating? And when do you start feeling that tightness, that anxiety, that overwhelm? When do you start shrugging up your shoulders and getting tense? When do you start avoiding? When do you start looking for distractions? When do you start losing focus? Because it's starting to feel hard and challenging and it's starting to feel uncomfortable. Look at all of that so that you can actually create a plan to overcome those things. See, I understand now that when I think about an idea and then I think it's amazing and then I actually go to work on it, that might be the next day or it might be a couple days later, then I'm starting to second think that idea because one group project in college that made me feel that essentially all my ideas were bad. I know the origin, I know the feelings behind it, and then I have to overcome them. So I know it's not anybody else judging me, but me allowing those girls from nearly 20 years ago to judge me before I've even done the thing. So this is what we would call the healing process. This is what we would call the inner growth process, the, emotionally healed inner child. This is where it starts. This is where the content creation starts. This is where your marketing starts. If you're a personal brand, if you're using a personal brand to grow your business, if you're selling something online, this is where it starts. It starts with you, not your ideas, not your strategy. It starts with you. Okay, so we've covered why you're really afraid. This is why you're really afraid. It's not all the other stuff. However, if indeed you've dealt with all of those things and you're like, well, I still feel like my stuff doesn't look good. I still feel like I don't know how to edit. I still feel like I don't know how to film to catch my good side. Then you have to do this next step, which is to learn. You have to learn, and part of learning is practice. Just like when we were in school, you learned a new concept and then you had worksheet after worksheet after worksheet so that you could actually practice the concept. Then you had a test so that you could show that you have mastered the concept. I should have started this video a lot earlier because now I got loud kids calling for me every 5 minutes. But we gonna keep on going. So the same goes for you when you're learning something. If you ever heard Alex Hormozi say the definition of learning, it is actually doing the thing and showing that you can actually do it. Not just the knowledge part of it, but being able to physically do it. So you have to practice the thing. You do have to learn it. You have to practice it. What does this amount to? It's your skills. You have to work on your skills. And it doesn't matter how much you have done the inner work and how much you have healed that inner child or that inner young adult. or that inner older adult. It doesn't matter how much you have evaluated your emotions and what your triggers are and what emotionally stops you from being able to create and post the content if you don't also build the skills to go with it. Now, you may be lopsided in this. Maybe you have done a lot of personal work, but you haven't worked on your skills. Or maybe you're like me and you worked on a lot of skills first before actually dealing with the emotional stuff. And that has been my journey the past couple of years, where I'm like, finally, after nearly 20 years, posting my first video on YouTube in 2008, and it's 2025. It's nearly 20 years. It's a long time to finally realize that Sally, Susie, Janet, and Kelly were excluding me. I was not in the in crowd. I didn't look like them. I didn't have the resources as them. So I didn't have the fancy computers. I didn't have the fancy Photoshop when that bad boy cost about $2,000. So it was like they got stuck with me. My knowledge itself, my ideas were not good enough. You get what I'm saying? But no. None of your skills amount to your worth. But your skills do elevate your ability to show people your worth. Let's be honest, if you're a millennial, your identity might be attached to like excellence and accomplishment, right? You're like, I don't know how to edit and I don't want it to look bad because my experience is greater than my skills. And I admit, I felt that way. Like, how do I make my video look nice? Actually, I'm feeling like I'm a little blown out here. That's better lighting. It's an ongoing process, but it starts with learning, then practicing, then figuring out where you need to learn some more, and then growing from there and improving on that. But okay, you do some inner work, you get your skills up, then you're like, I'm still kind of scared. So what is it? You don't have a plan. You think copying other people's viral posts, copying hooks, copying their content formats. You think that making carbon copies of other people's success is going to give you the same success, but it's not. So then what kind of plan are you supposed to use? Your plan is your strategy, of course. But how are you going to create the strategy so that you can actually win? Well, your content marketing strategy has to include a few things. A way to get the attention, a way to keep that attention and allow you to communicate and nurture those relationships with the people that found you. And then you have to have a way to convert that attention into sales. So how do we do that? Well, I'm not going to keep you here for long. Instead, I'm going to send you to this video right here where you can get the answer. See you in the next one. Bye for now.